Independent thoughts, independent life. This is Chad Benson.
Today, the president will shift his focus to the economic fallout of this crisis, taking more executive actions intended to provide more aid to families who are really struggling to put food on the table. Also looking at ways to try and speed the delivery of those direct stimulus checks, and also taking steps to try and help workers who simply may not feel safe returning to the job. These are all actions intended to help Americans, but also to help stabilize the economy.
And that's where you start first, the economy. At the end of the day, as the economy goes, so goes our country. People don't want, people want to fight about issues and this rights and that's rights. But at the end of the day, if you feel like life is good because you got a little money in your pocket, you're not worried about where you're going to get your next meal, the family feels good, kids are back in school, things of that nature, that's a great start. And that's what Biden is going to focus on, because getting people back to work, getting us to herd immunity, however that happens, is of the utmost importance.
Our plan starts with mounting an aggressive, safe, and effective vaccination campaign to meet our goal of administering 100 million shots in our first 100 days in office. This will be one of the greatest operational challenges our nation has ever undertaken, and I'm committed to getting it done. We'll move heaven and earth to get more people vaccinated for free and create more places for them to get vaccinated, to mobilize more medical teams to get shots in people's arms, and to increase vaccine supply and get it out the door as fast as possible.
Remember, when they say free, think of it as a credit card. You're not paying for it today, but eventually in your taxes and things of that nature, you will pay for it. But getting shots in people's arms is of the utmost importance. Getting people to the point where they are feeling comfortable to go out and work, to spend money, teachers getting back in the classroom. This is big. Yesterday, they talked about there was no plan, and I love the way that people spin this. Look, do I think that Trump had a vaccination plan? I don't think he did. But at the same time, Biden didn't start from scratch. Trump did his administration did the most important thing, which is get a vaccine and pave the way. How it went after that, it went sideways, because he didn't care about too much after the election except trying to win said election still. But that is where Biden has to now come through to finish on what the Trump administration started, which was he's got the vaccine. It's already started going into people's arm even before Trump left office and Biden assumed the office. At the end of the day, though, this is a huge, huge undertaking.
Our national plan launches a full-scale wartime effort to address the supply shortages by ramping up production and protective equipment, syringes, needles, you name it. And when I say wartime, people kind of look at me like wartime. Well, as I said last night, 400,000 Americans have died. That's more than have died in all of World War II. 400,000. And this is a wartime undertaking.
He's talking, obviously, about American soldiers. A few more people died in the actual war itself. I think we know that. So this is a big undertaking, and it is not going to be an overnight thing. Yesterday, I spoke with Dr. Cremona. He was W's Surgeon General. And I asked him a question. I said, Doctor, I got to be honest with you. I said, nobody's answering or even asking the question about the what if. The what if only 60% of people get vaccinated. And the other 40% decide, for whatever reason, I don't want to get vaccinated. Maybe they've already had it, okay, so you put some people there. But then you've got some that want to wait maybe a year to see how this thing plays itself out. You have others that refuse to, for whatever reason. Anti-vaxxers, they think that it's going to change their DNA. They think they're going to be tracked by the government. At some point in time, to get us back to a place of normalcy, we're going to have to say, you guys had the chance, that's on you. And he hemmed and he hawed and he walked around it and finally said, yeah, at some point we have to give people the notification that life's going to get back to normal. And if they don't want to get a vaccination, which is totally fine. I don't care if you do or don't. To me, that's a you thing. But I don't want us to be stuck by the fact that some people aren't going to get it. And because of that, states are saying, well, we can't because they're not going to get it. We can't force them. So all of us now have to live by their rules. And that is we all have to wear a mask. We all have to stay indoors. And, it'll be a start-stop situation. No, I think at some point you have to tell everybody all bets are off. So this is it. We're going to get this many shots. By the end of the year, supposedly, we'll have 1 billion shots. Vaccinations ready to roll out by February. They hope to have vaccinations in pretty much all pharmacies, the CVS's and the Walgreens and those things. But there also has to be an understanding that some people aren't going to get it. And we can't be held hostage as a nation by that. We just can't. And he's like, no, you're right. We can't. But nobody addresses those things. And those are the things that we do need to address. Absolutely. More and more we need to. Dr. Fauci spoke yesterday. He was pretty, he had issues. I think we all know he had issues with Trump. And Trump had issues. Look, name somebody Trump didn't have issues with besides his kids. Very few. Very few.
It was very clear that there were things that were said, be it regarding things like hydroxychloroquine and other things like that, that really was uncomfortable because they were not based on scientific fact. I can tell you, I take no pleasure at all being in a situation of contradicting the president. So it was really something that you didn't feel that you could actually say something and there wouldn't be any repercussions about it. The idea that you can get up here and talk about what you know, what the evidence, what the science is, and no, that's it. Let the science speak. It is somewhat of a liberating feeling.
That's good. Let the science speak. But I think we should have, here's the thing, and this goes to like the media, the trust in the media is at an all-time low, and is there are other people that will contradict, and somewhere in between, we have to find out what's the real truth, what's not the truth. They're not talking about the fact that just because you get the vaccine, you may be protected from it, but you could still be a carrier and pass it to other people. Uh-oh. Right. So let's get all of the information out there as best as possible to everybody. And then that's also the part where we go back to eventually there's calculated risk in life. And eventually we're going to get to the point where, look, we're not going to be able to protect everybody all the time from everything. We're just not going to be able to do it. So everybody needs to know that. They do. That, yes, there is a chance that you could get this or the flu or something. I mean, we can't protect everybody from everything. But we should have all of the science and allow people to start making their own decisions when we get to this. Like for me, people have asked me, will I get the shot? Well, seeing as I test positive for the antibodies, I'm going to give it time and let other people go in front of me, and which I'm totally fine with. But I've also accepted the responsibility that that's my responsibility. I'm taking it on my own. I've made that choice. And I'm willing to be okay with that choice. For whatever happens. We need to start allowing people to do that because that gets us back on the road to recovery. But we need to tell the people the truth, the things they need to hear, not everything that they want to hear, which is something we struggle with in this country. Senator Coons talked about the no plan versus plan, kind of detailed plan. The reality is look, are we in a hole? Yes. Did Trump give up over the last 2 months to focus on trying to figure out how to re-win the election that he lost?
The incoming administration discovered there was no thorough and detailed vaccination plan. Shocking that in the 2 months since the election, outgoing President Donald Trump basically abdicated his responsibilities. As the pandemic raged out of control, he spent his time golfing and tweeting and spinning up conspiracy theories that led to that tragic assault on the Capitol now 2 weeks ago.
And that'll be played out when it comes to his impeachment, when that happens. We'll touch on that in a bit. But there was a plan-ish, and there was the foundation with the actual vaccination, which matters. But it wasn't detailed. It was the cupboard wasn't bare in the sense that there was nothing, the way that some people have spun it. And the other people are like, oh, my God, that's a lie because there was something. The reality, like everything, is usually kind of in the middle. And no, there wasn't a super detailed plan. And states have gotten frustrated. States and cities have gotten frustrated. Many of them have tried to go around the government to try to purchase it on their own. And Pfizer's like, look, we got a contract with the feds. We can't, sorry, it's an exclusive contract. We can't sell it directly to you. So, sorry, which I think frustrates a lot of people because they're looking at the feds. Hopefully we'll get this sorted out. We shall see. The eyes on Biden. He promises in 100 days he's going to deliver something, which will get us moving forward, which will get us working, which will get people back out there living their lives the way that we should, so we can go to movies, we can go to concerts, we can go to sporting events. Today, they announced it's going to be 22,000 allowed into, I think it's Raymond James Stadium now, out there in Tampa for the Super Bowl, which is where I think it's being played this year. So that's decent. 7,500 are going to be people who are vaccinated and frontline workers and stuff. At least there'll be a crowd there. So the weekend won't be singing on his own. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show's your Twitter. Tweet at us, text the program. Hope you guys are feeling well. Oh, my God. I'm going to tell you guys what happened to me yesterday and the insanity of so much that takes place with and the frustration that people on the right have when it comes to social media. It's true, and I've said it, and I've even got friends who are uber liberal telling me yesterday, this is the kind of stuff that, yeah, you know what? It is unbalanced, and there needs to be something done about it. We'll talk about that in a second. AMAC, Association of Mature American Citizens, fastest growing over 50 organization in the country. They got tons of benefits. We talk about all the great benefits, retail, restaurant, hotel. I mean, they got, you name it, amusement parks. You want to go to an amusement park? They got huge. They got travel. They got lifestyle, entertainment, dining, flowers. I mean, you name it. They got benefits for just about anything out there you could think of. And they also do things like help you when it comes to Medicare, with their insurance plans. They'll walk you through which one do you need help with. If you're turning 65, how can they help you? Dental care, the emergency assistance plus, where, you can travel confidently and not have to worry about, certain things, prescription discounts, things of that nature. They have everything you could think of. And then some. That includes, you know what? Do you need help with Social Security? Right? Do you need information and resources? And they've got certified advisors to help you with questions, to walk you through stuff. It's a great benefit, and it's so cheap. I think it's like $16 a year. So join now. Get all of these amazing things, and we can travel and do all kinds of stuff. You can take advantage of that. But also the help along the way for many questions you may have. Go to amac.us/Chad, amac.us/Chad, amac.us/Chad to join today. Chad Benson Show.
Don't let the Washington Beltway strangle you. This is where the exhausted majority comes to refuel, realign, and reevaluate. This is Chad Benson.
Japan's government denies reports that the Tokyo Summer Games are doomed. The Times of London, citing a senior government source, reported there's consensus that holding the Games would be too risky in light of coronavirus. Though Japan has fared relatively well during the pandemic, it is struggling to get the virus under control, and major cities are under a state of emergency. Japan has seen nearly 5,000 deaths from COVID. Polls show around 80% of Japanese do not think the Olympic Games should be held this summer as planned.
I don't know what kind of money Japan is going to lose. They're doing everything to keep this. They're not going to keep it. They're not. And, I mean, the cost of the Tokyo Olympics, we've talked about why anybody would want to host these games, but it's a perfect example of how fast this pandemic spreads, how we are all kind of just, we're watching, we're doing stuff. This would be something big. It was supposed to happen last year. So it was the European Soccer Championships. Those things have been canceled. And, we would all love to fly there. We'd love to go see the games, but people are not going to be able to see the games. The cost and loss of this would be huge. Huge. Currently. So to give you guys what kind of loss this would be, $15 billion is what it's cost. 200% overrun in what they thought it was going to cost. You wonder why people don't want to hold the damn games. Oh, my goodness. I'm thinking to myself, I got to get a Tokyo 2020 shirt because that's the collector's item. It's the Olympics that never happened. And you know what sucks? Think about this too. Maybe you're in the prime of your athletic life and you're supposed to be in this. And you're not going to be. Like, you've worked your entire life for a moment like this. You've worked your entire life. You've gotten up early, you've went to bed late, you've eaten right, you've done everything. And I'm not even just talking about the big stars who will go on and, track and field and stuff like that. But yeah, I mean, that matters. But think about all the other people, right? The mom who's a rower, right? Also has a couple kids, and this was her shot at the Olympics. The guy that works part-time, 3 jobs, drives Uber, and is a shot putter. And he's done everything to this point, and this was it. And now it may not happen. That's like, when you think of it like that's a gut punch. And if you're Tokyo, this is why people nobody wants the games. Not just because of the coronavirus, because of the expense. Now not to have it? 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Yesterday, I was suspended from Twitter for a bit. I'll tell you why. Tulsi Gabbard was on Joe Rogan, and she had some real eye-opening things to say about what Congress is really like. Chad Benson Show.
The Chad Benson Show.
Independent thoughts, independent life. This is Chad Benson.
The talk of the town is who's holding the winning ticket.
Everyone's trying to guess who it is. That's the big thing. And in a tiny town like this, you're probably related to them.
20% of residents here live in poverty. The coronavirus has only added to the economic devastation.
That's right. Powerball winner in a little town in Maryland. Huge. Everybody wants to know who is the person. Who is the person? Who was the winner in this little bitty town? I don't know. Nobody knows. That's what you're supposed to do, right? We've talked about it. Like, Anthony's got his plan. Phil's got a detailed plan, which nobody will know. So nobody's going to know who, if he wins, where. Like, okay, who is it? I don't know. Phil just stopped showing up at work one day, and then I got a, bizarre email from him in some weird fashion that says he will never be back ever again. And it was in Allegheny County. He or she is loving it. Lottery itself in Maryland got $49 million. If they take the cash, which would be, as we talked about that, 546. Not bad. Now, tonight, fret none, my friends, because the real one is tonight. Mega Millions. So, where does this rank? $970 million is where it's at now. $970 170. It is number 3. Still has a ways to go to get to number 1. Number 2, $1.54 billion. That winner, South Carolina, October 23rd, 2018. And then January 13th, 2016, California, Florida, and Tennessee had winners that split $1.59 billion. So if you choose the annuity, we've gone over that. It's, you know, you get paid out and that pay increases over 30 years. If you take the pre-tax option, $716 million tonight. So I'm taking the pre-tax, obviously. Chances of winning this is 1 in 302 million. So there you go. Enjoy it. Enjoy me winning. You guys celebrate me when I do. Sing songs of joy. That's all I ask. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at us. Speaking of Twitter, yesterday I was suspended from Twitter. And I was suspended because of something that was posted when Joe Biden first got in the race. And it was about, it was like a Washington Post article over the fact that, you know, it was basically, is it over before it began for Joe Biden, or as some people refer to him as, you know, creepy Uncle Joe, which was like a quote from the article that I posted. And I appealed it and they just immediately took the thing off. But at first it was sexually exploitive something or other from children. I'm like, well, that's not even, it's okay, whatever. And then that disappeared. And then it was just, it didn't meet the terms. And then they released it. And I found it to be completely ridiculous. But that's, you know, the frustration that people have. And I understand. I've always said this. Our fight isn't with each other over the right and the left. We're always going to have that. We've always had that. We always act like, oh, this is the first time we've ever fought. No, this is just the first time we've ever had access to one another in ways that, you know, that we couldn't even imagine 20, 30 years ago. We have immediate access to one another, which is like, whoa. But it is the right and the left and flat earth and other things when it comes to social media. And that's where the fight needs to be taken to. I'm as straightforward as it gets, right? I'm not gonna spin you right. I'm not gonna spin you left. If you want the right side, there's plenty of guys out there that do that. If you want the left side, there's a few guys out there that do that. And then you got the establishment media. I'm just going to give you my opinion based on the facts. I'm going to get the facts first, gather as much as I possibly can, give you my opinion, and go from there. But it's that kind of stuff. And we've talked about it before here. We've been in Facebook jail on several occasions. One occasion, it was about the Nobel Prize and the fact that, what's her name? Greta Thunberg she got a Nobel Prize, you know, nomination or something like that. And we posted something that was true, was taken off like the Telegraph or something like that one of their headlines. But it was hilarious because this could not be, you know, this news is fake or it cannot be verified. And you're just like, that stuff drives people crazy. And I do see it only happening predominantly on the left. Yesterday, Twitter finally took action towards Antifa on several of their accounts or people that, you know, because remember, Antifa, people say, well, why isn't Antifa a terror organization? Because it's an ideal, right? Like you kind of have to join the Proud Boys. They're a group. They've got uniform looking things. I mean, that's kind of the thought process. Antifa, yeah, they all dress in black, but you just kind of show up and say, I'm one of you guys. And there's no real, it's an idea that's as dangerous as anything else. But finally, they're doing that. And I think that this is the fight that needs to be had, is this culture clash of differing opinions. And part of that's on us because I've said it over and over again. I'll continue to say it. Take away politics. We'll find something to fight about. It can be as stupid as, you know, what's better, you know, Disneyland or Disney World. Oh, and then we'll start fighting over it. What's the best whatever to use to app for this? Somebody said, no, this app. No, this app. Next thing you know, it gets personal. And that's where we are. It started with Yelp. God, Yelp is a perfect example. We gave people the opportunity to what I thought people would be like, you're going to go there and what? You're going to say, hey, you know what? I tried this place. It was okay. It wasn't great. Service was all right. But now it's like food sucks. And oh, by the way, they're all racist. And that's where we are. Everything's kind of become that. These are the things that matter going forward in so many ways because of the cancel culture, because of the insanity of the world that we live in. And like cancel culture, to me, it's scary. It is. And you guys remember a while back, a pretty fit lady. I mean, she's pretty fit. Jillian Michaels talked about, she got into some hot water over Lizzo about essentially her size, and where people were celebrating that, and she made a remark about, hey, having clogged arteries and diabetes, that's not good for you.
She's very formidable in terms of her size. And I was like, wow, that in person, to me, even bigger than I had seen her on TV.
Several months ago, I was doing the cover of Women's Health. I was asked about The Biggest Loser. And I said, I don't think it will work today because the world has become so PC. I was asked a question if I celebrate her being overweight. This has nothing to do with Lizzo. I don't celebrate anyone being overweight because it's unhealthy.
Yeah. And I read an article today in Vox about this, and they were just like, they tried to, and this is the perfect example of why media trust is down, because it's a spin. A new report out today says that a majority of Americans believe that the media is pushing things based on ideology rather than truth. Of course. And so I'm reading this article today, and it's talking about the fact that, hey, there are skinny people who get sick and have bad, but that's a genetic thing, right? Like the guy that was on Biggest Loser with her, like that Bob guy was like fit as a fiddle, and he ended up having a heart attack. That was a genetic thing. And when you look at health, we should be healthy. But there's a perfect example of tell me something I want to hear. It's not about hurting your feelings. It's about being honest. Well, that might hurt my feelings. So you want me to lie to you? And this wasn't about Lizzo. All of us, look, I try to work out as best as I can and try to eat right. I'm not perfect. I'm not. I work a lot of hours. I try to do as much as I possibly can. And yeah, would I like to be 22 and only playing soccer, running around, getting fit all day? That sounds great. It's not, that's not the reality of it. And most of us fight our weight in some way, shape, or form throughout the years. But now should highlight more than anything the fact that we all need to get fitter. She was talking about, hey, you know what? We shouldn't celebrate people being unhealthy. But you heard that. Well, shouldn't you celebrate that? No.
And it's not virtuous or honorable to deny these facts to seem sanctimonious or noble. I will not do it. I have no issue with this poor woman. It's just, I am a health expert. If you ask me whether or not I celebrate being overweight, you may as well ask me if I celebrate smoking cigarettes. Of course, I'm going to say no. It's said very clearly, I think it's a slippery slope when you celebrate anyone based on their body shape or size.
And that's right. You shouldn't. Like you see somebody gets fit and goes from, big to large. You could celebrate that. But we are trying to force people in to this, believe this because it's the right thing to do for their ego or for their heart or for their emotions. Not that it's the right, not that in reality, the right thing to do would say, hey, you need to get fit. Again, it's not about Lizzo. It's not. It's not about Lizzo. It's about, I think all of us were honest with ourselves. That's the hardest thing to be, like honest with ourselves. Like the honesty starts with, I need to lose 50 pounds. I need to lose 30 pounds. I need to work out more. I may be thin, but you know what? I'm unhealthy. Or That's all real. And then PC culture comes for you, and they want to cancel you because that's the thing that they do now. I don't like what you said, even though it might be true and based in facts, so I must cancel you and destroy your life.
At the end of the day, this is America. Like, we have to, it is freedom of speech. And the reality of freedom of speech is that you've got to live with someone saying things. It remains the issue. I think we've terrorized people into not voicing their opinions anymore, which is actually a massive mistake, because the only way to actually change someone's mind, if you seek to change it, is to allow them to tell you what they don't like.
And that's the sad thing with our culture is we're at that point, and we've been there, where feelings now override fact and truth. And I think in the coming years, people are going to see, oh, my God, we celebrated things we shouldn't have celebrated. We accepted things that, yes, you know what, we shouldn't be mean, but it ended up being more harmful than good. And we can't do that. We can't. And when you're terrified to say something that you believe to be true, based on facts and evidence, then don't ask me my opinion. Like, do you want the truth? I love that you ever say, hey, can you give me your opinion? Do you want the truth? That's what we have to say now. Do you want the truth? And by the way, if anybody says that to you, hey, can I have your opinion? And they say, do you want the truth? Know that whatever's coming, brace yourself. If you say yes, is probably not going to be the thing you want to hear, but it might be the thing you need to hear. And sometimes people are just Richards, and they're just going to say mean things. 323-538-2423, at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at us, text the program. Love hearing from every single one of you. So when I win my Mega Millions tonight, producer Anthony and producer Phil, you guys can get some cash, but I'm also going to get you guys private. Well, not you, Phil. You like to be the chef. But get you guys chefs so we can all get super fit. Right? Super fit. Here's some, Phil. Like, if they didn't know, okay, so producer Phil, if somebody meets you, let's say 5 years down the road, are you, and they don't know that you won the lottery, do you lie to them and tell them you're successful in something else?
Absolutely, I do.
Yeah, it's a good thing. I like that. That's a good thing. Totally. Oh, I'm a super software developer person, Smurf. That's what I am. Oh, my goodness. Raycon's best earbuds around. When you're working out, they're amazing. Why? No wires, no stems. When you're on a conference call, the best earbuds around. Why? No wires, no stems. The fit, perfect. The sound quality, incredible. The style, well, lots of them and amazing. 6 hours of talk time, seamless Bluetooth pairing. And then the big one, the price. Normally, you'd pay a couple hundred, maybe $300. The E25s that I love, they start well under $100, and you're going to be saving big. Yeah, you are. This is what I want you to do. I want you to go to buyraycon.com/Chad and get yourself some Raycons, extra 15% off. Buyraycon.com/Chad to save big, extra 15% on the best earbuds around. Buyraycon.com/Chad for the best earbuds. Chad Benson Show.
If you like talk radio like Chad Benson likes his meals, you've come to the perfect place for takeout.
We certainly are not starting from scratch because there is activity going on in the distribution.
Yeah, widely reported that that there was no plan. And this is, we were just talking about the media and how people don't trust the media. So everybody attacks CNN for putting that plan out there. Saying that through an anonymous source that they said that they're essentially starting from scratch, or there was no plan. They're not starting from scratch. I mean, the most important part of it is there's vaccines. Now, we don't have a ton of them, and there wasn't a great plan to distribute them, and that needs to be fixed. But it kind of shows you the manipulation of the media, even on the left side of the aisle, fighting with the left side of the aisle, saying, ha, you didn't get this right. There was a plan. Well, not a great plan. I don't think there was the plan that some people are. There just wasn't. Let's be real. I mean, Trump didn't care. Trump gave up in so many ways because he was too busy trying to figure out how he could spin it and get another term and all of that. He was way busier doing that than anything else.
We're coming in with fresh ideas, but also some ideas that were not bad ideas with the previous administration. You can't say it was absolutely not usable at all. So we are continuing, but you're going to see a real ramping up of it.
Yeah. Not everything was bad. No. And Trump left the thing that matters from his administration. We can blame him for lack of planning or cohesiveness or working with the states or whatever, but he did, in his administration, get through the vaccinations, through all the chaos, craziness, and the regulations, and that's a win. Outside of that, well, the rest of it we can debate. But at the end of the day, it wasn't nothing, but it wasn't something. It was somewhere in the middle. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show. Your Twitter. Tweet at us. Text the program. Check out the Instagram as well. It's the Chad Benson Show.
This is the Chad Benson Show. Independent thoughts, independent life. This is Chad Benson.
Our plan starts with mounting an aggressive, safe, and effective vaccination campaign to meet our goal of administering 100 million shots in our first 100 days in office. This will be one of the greatest operational challenges our nation has ever undertaken, and I'm committed to getting it done. We'll move heaven and earth to get more people vaccinated for free and create more places for them to get vaccinated, to mobilize more medical teams to get shots in people's arms, and to increase vaccine supply and get it out the door as fast as possible.
Yeah, that sounds great. It's going to be a big undertaking, and this is a big ask. We're behind the eight ball. And now, can we move forward? Now that the rhetoric and the chaos is behind us, can we decide, all right, let's deal with things one at a time? How do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time. All right, how are we going to do this? Well, we need to get vaccines to the states. That's a good thing. It's going to take a while, though. It's not going to be overnight. I'm out here in Arizona. You can't get there's a few places in the counties you can get some stuff, but a lot of these things, first of all, in most of these states, it is absolutely confusing as hell. So let's just take away the feds for a second, getting it and distributing. The states. Our state website, if you're 75, hell, if you're 65 for a lot of people, getting through to get a time for a vaccination is insane. I've gone on and played with it and tried to see, and it's like, it's one of those things where you go, you put your information in, right? So you get your information, I put it in, and then you go to the next thing, and then, oh, sorry, no time for anything. You go back, all your information's gone. You got to search through just to find a phone number to do anything, and we're talking about doing what? Getting the elderly vaccinated first. Probably not. I'm going to go with, there are some, I'm sure, but a majority of them are not computer savvy. So that's a fail. That's an absolute fail. So let's start there with that. The other part is, you go from the states to then some counties across the country have stuff. And then cities have stuff. And then the states have their own. So you got three different things. And this county over here says, you know what? If you're over 65 or have an underlying condition, you can get it. But over here, it's you got to be over 75. Some places like California, well, you know, we're going to have to let this stuff go to waste because people missed the chance to get it. Well, why can't you just give it to somebody else? Oh, we can't do that. There's regulations. Here in Arizona, they have the tag-along rule. If you come at a certain time and other people have not shown up and you're in the car, you brought grandma, you brought grandpa, your mom and your dad, they'll look and go, hey, we've got extra. Do you guys want your shots? Boom. West Virginia did a good thing that I've been thinking all states should do. Hey, we've got 250 shots that weren't used today. We're sending out a text to anybody. You reply to this and you can get here within 30 minutes. You can get your vaccination rather than let it go to waste. So there's lots of issues. The feds are one, and Biden's got to try to figure out how he fixes that. And then the states are another. And that's why I'm telling you in 2 or 3 months, what you're going to see is what states handled it the right way and what states flopped.
Our national plan launches a full-scale wartime effort to address the supply shortages by ramping up production and protective equipment, syringes, needles, you name it. And when I say wartime, people kind of look at me like wartime. Well, as I said last night, 400,000 Americans have died. That's more than have died in all of World War II. 400,000. And this is a wartime undertaking.
It is. What we're trying to do. We're trying to vaccinate, 200 million people? 220 million people, whatever it is, 230, 240. Some people aren't going to get vaccinated for several reasons. And that's something else that we need to talk about is what happens if, because you hear it's going to be 80, 85, 90% of people to get to that point of herd immunity have to be vaccinated. I probably think 70%, 65%, because you've got to think we've had how many millions have already had it? So they've got some form of immunity. And that's the ones we know. There are also double or triple that, and some people say a lot more, but let's just say we double that. So we're at 45, 50 million people that have had it. Some of those are children and stuff, but at that point, they've got some form of immunity. So they're not as important to get the vaccine first. I've tested positive for the antibodies, so for me, I can be pushed to the back of the line, and I'm fine with that at this point in time. So we're going to need to get to a certain level, but there's going to be people out there that aren't going to take it, and that's the question that needs to be asked and answered. At what point do we say, okay, you can't take it for health reasons. You're not taking it for religious reasons. You're not taking it because you believe that it's going to alter your DNA and make you not have children because you read that somewhere on a website. You think it's going to cause your children or you to get autism or who knows what, and you over here think that it's got something in that's going to track you. That's your choice. But I don't want to be beholden to those choices. Where we're like, well, we can't open up because these people don't want to do something. That's a them thing. They've made a choice. I think they understand the risk. Some of them think there is no risk. That's fine. And some of them know, yeah, there's a risk, but I'm willing to take it. And this is where we need true guidance. And we'll find out what that looks like with Biden and the states. That's why I said you watch. There's going to be states that are going to do really well with this. And come April, May, June, they're going to be mostly open, back to a pretty normal way of life. And there's going to be flare-up, just like there is with the flu. If this thing's endemic, it's not going anywhere. And we're not even talked about, are we going to have to do this every year? That the people that get it, or they have some sort of different kind of immunity where, they're not, it's like SARS, 17 years on, 18 years on from SARS. People are still immune, still have antibodies. And those things we don't know. So we'll see. But there will be states that will be so much further ahead and other states that are floundering and they're still going to be struggling. So take a peek at that. It's going to be interesting. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at us. Text the program. Love hearing from you. Impeachment. So the battle's going on. Right? I'm talking a lot about Trump. I'm not going to bash him. I'm not going to talk about him. He's just living there. But the impeachment trial is real. And the question is, when will there be one?
But right now, that whole process is tied up in a negotiation between Mitch McConnell, the Republican, Chuck Schumer, the Democrat, over what a trial should even look like.
Mitch wants it to start at sometime in February. The Democrats, I think, want to start it immediately. It's fresh on people's mind. Here's the thing that I think people need to understand about this. And I said this last night. You can hold it over Trump's head for a little while, and you can focus on the things this needs to be done. They can do two things at once. I said, it's not about doing two things at once. Yes, they should be able to do two things at once. But it's also about the fact that you're also going to be going into contentious negotiations when it comes to a lot of this stuff that Biden wants to pass. So in doing those things, let's focus on that at this moment in time. Gives you more time to go search evidence, gives you more time to find out how deeply involved some of these other people are, what that looks like. But it also gives you more time to do what? To negotiate on top of that before you even get to that point. And I think that's important.
I mean, I think it will be an impediment to some degree, but I think it's something that has to be done. And I'll tell you what, history must record that this Congress made it clear that no president can incite his followers into insurrection. He must be impeached. Having said that, there are so many problems facing this country that I want to see this impeachment process move forward. I want to see him convicted as quickly as possible. We have got to show the American people that we can walk and chew bubblegum at the same time.
Said the guy with the sweet mittens. Those are pretty sweet, right? Like, it's old school. That's all. Like, the beauty about Bernie is you don't have to like his politics, but he doesn't give AF about anything. I bet there's days he's walking out of the house, he's missing a button on his shirt as far as we're buttoning him up. His belt's a little sideways, and he hasn't brushed his hair, and he just doesn't care. He doesn't. But we do need to focus on other things. He's absolutely right. And the negotiations, because you got to think about this. Understand that we live in a world of fighting. I've talked about this all the time. We think it's the right or the left. It's anything. We fight about every single thing all the time, especially now that everybody has a voice and an opinion. So behind the scenes, they'll be negotiating certain things about this. And the focus should be, hey, let's help the people. Let's get this stuff out there. Let's get the vaccines. Let's get these states open. Let's get kids back in school. Let's get people working again. Let's do that. We can talk about other things. And yeah, you know what? There'll be some trade-offs. There'll be some trade-offs. Potentially. But you got to have an evidence and you got to have the trial.
We don't have the time to spend weeks and months on impeachment. People are hungry in America today. They're facing eviction. They have no income. They're worried about the future. We got climate change out there. We got 90 million people uninsured or underinsured. We have got to move aggressively to protect the American people, and we can go forward simultaneously on all of these issues if we're prepared to roll up our sleeves and get to work.
Yeah, and we need to move forward and stuff. And it's not about not impeaching him or going after him. It's about doing it in such a way where you focus on the things right here that matter and put together your trial, put together all of the things that you need to put together in a right way when it comes to his defense, if you're on the Republican side and with him, and on the other side of things, if you're going to try to convict him of the offenses that he is inciting, an insurrection. Get it all together rather than just try to rush it. It's about doing things right. So many people want it to be over and done with right now. Measure twice, cut once. Do it right. That's the smart thing to do. And in a world of emotions, people want it now. It will come, and he'll have his day in court. And right now, I couldn't tell you which way it's going to go. I really couldn't tell you which way it's going to go. And I think there'll be some negotiations on the side directly with Trump with some Republicans who will say, look, I'm leaning towards voting for you to be convicted of this, and there may be, ways to sway that in a different way where, the reality is it's politics. Remember, this is not a criminal trial. This is politics. And they may say, look, if you don't vote, I promise never to run again. So we'll see. We'll see. Behind the scenes is always more interesting, but we never get to see that. CarShield, 24/7 roadside assistance, a rental car for free while your car's in the shop. You choose the shop, get them paid directly. It's the beauty of what CarShield does. It doesn't matter what's wrong with your car. CarShield's got a plan that's right for you. The things you worry about, what keeps you up when it comes to your car? Is it the fact that, if something went down with your electronics in your car, how much it is just to get those things replaced by, in many cases now, you got to pull out the entire dashboard and stuff? Or is it the engine? Is it the things like the windows and the air conditioning and the heating? Whatever it is, they've got a plan that's right for you. Whether your car has 5,000, 150,000 miles on it, you drive with confidence knowing the CarShield is there to protect you, your wallet, and your car. Get coverage today. Call CarShield, 800-665-2157. Mention code Benson, you save 10%. Or go to carshield.com, carshield.com. Use that code Benson to save 10%. A deductible may apply. Chad Benson Show.
No fake outrage here, just the real thing. The Chad Benson Show.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Ignition. Liftoff.
Now it's time to find out what's trending. What's trending? Yeah, what does that mean? I mean something, right? Like it's trending on the old internet. What's trending?
All right, let's find out what's trending.
Head over to Google. Take a look there. Powerball winning numbers and Mega Millions, both trending. Big time. Huge. Walker, Texas Ranger. I had no idea. There's a reboot, and apparently they've dropped the conservatism that surrounded the original show. Which I didn't. You know what's weird? I never watched that show. I see it because it's on where all my westerns are, but it's always on there like on Saturday evenings or one of those. I've never watched it. Not that I don't like Chuck Norris. I mean, don't get me wrong. I do. Tulsi Gabbard, she's launching a podcast. She was on yesterday with Joe Rogan. We'll touch on that in a little bit. Just some of the times and some of the things that she said about her time in Congress that needs to be talked about because it's exactly what people believe. I mean, people believe who get what really so much of this politics is all about, but that the media doesn't talk about. What kind of clique it is. Head on over to Twitter. Lots of fun stuff about Bernie. Still laughing over his little gloves he was wearing. Impeach Biden now is trending because people are insane. And we'll touch on that. Good God. Expel Ted Cruz. Again, insane. The knee-jerk reaction that people have over stuff. I don't like what he did, so I want to get rid of everything about that person. There's a petition to get Ted to try to revoke Ted Cruz, Josh Hawley, and Dan Crenshaw's degrees from Harvard. What is wrong with you people? I mean, honestly, how do you live? Well, they did something I didn't like. Okay. Well, then don't pay attention to it. Just move on. Crazy. Chad Benson Show.
The Chad Benson Show.
Independent thoughts, independent life. This is Chad Benson.
One of our 100-day challenges is asking the American people to mask up for the first 100 days, the next 99 days. The mask can become a partisan issue, unfortunately, but it's a patriotic act. But for a few months to wear a mask, the fact is that they're the single best thing we can do. They're even more important than the vaccines because they take time to work. And if we do this as Americans, the experts say by wearing a mask from now until April, we'd save more than 50,000 lives.
You know, it's interesting. A, it's not more important than the vaccines. B, if you really want to, it's the social distancing is more important because if you're not around people, you're not going to get sick. I mean, that's just the reality. But as humans, we crave interaction because we're humans. It's part of our species. And, masking up, it's like, first of all, it should never be one of these things where we've turned it into a partisan issue. They're taking away my freedom. A lot of things the government does that, that you would say, like why can't here's an honest question. Why can't I sell my kidney? It's my kidney. Why can't I? If somebody wants to pay me, that's something they tell me I can't do. Oh, I could give it away. I could donate it. I'm curious. Masking up, it's good, right? It makes people feel better. And at the end of the day, it's kind of like a placebo effect. I've got 3 or 4 masks that I wear, and I wash them once a week. I have a rotation, wear one for a day or two, but it's in and out of my pocket. It falls on the ground. I mean, they only go so far. It's a placebo effect, and it makes people feel. Does it help mitigate it? Yeah, probably a little bit. But we didn't take a lot of this stuff serious, and we also got conflicting information to start this thing off. And information is key because we already live in a world where everybody thinks the other side's lying about everything. And we turn everything into the other side. It's not that's sad, that people can't look, okay, what are they saying over here that's true? They have to have some, people talk about, fake news. It's fake news. It's fake news. Or that's a lie, or Trump's lying, or, Biden was lying, or then they walk through all this stuff. Most of what it is misinformation more than disinformation. Yes, some of the stuff I'm telling you is true, but in context with the fact that I'm only telling you a part of the story that makes this look good for my belief system. Because I can go out there and find you have 5 or 6 articles and studies that point in another direction that say, look, wearing a dirty mask or a mask you've worn a couple times is potentially far worse than not wearing a mask at all. But if it doesn't fit a narrative about feeling good, right? It's all about do you feel good? It's what we talk about on our show so much. It's like how much BS is out there when it comes to the way that people really feel compared to the way that they want you to think they feel. So if you don't wear a mask or whatever, somehow that you hate humans, which is BS. You know that, and I know that. And by the way, when it comes to stores, this is what the stores ask you to do. This is it. This is yesterday, right? France came out and said, mask, not enough, got to do more. I'm not walking around in a hazmat suit. At this point in time, I'm just taking my chances. I wear the mask because I have coworkers. It makes them feel a lot better. That's it. Makes them feel better. But I can get it from anywhere. You can get it from anywhere. The community spreads out there. I don't know how long this thing's been on my face, off and on. It's sitting right here. It's not in some magical container. It's just on the desk. So, yeah, masking up is going to make people feel good. Is it going to save lives? It may save a few. Absolutely. But you can also find the other side of something where another study said something, and it's all about, well, if that's true, then we must have not had the right information. So therefore we look bad, and I don't want to look bad, so we'll just demonize the other side. It's just easier to go, well, maybe their report's true. Maybe there's some truth in their report. Or maybe we're so early in this damn thing, the reality is we really don't know all the things we're going to find out in the next 2, 3, 4, 5 years. But he's got an uphill battle. And vaccines, we'll see what that looks like. We'll see what that looks like. He's going to do everything he can, including the National Guard.
And in just a few moments, I'm going to sign a declaration to immediately begin reimbursing states 100% for the use of their National Guards to help COVID relief efforts, something Democrats and Republican governors alike have called for. But the brutal truth is, it's going to take months before we can get the majority of Americans vaccinated.
Yeah, it's going to take months. So until then, try not to be an a-hole. But I do think there needs to be an honest conversation with all of America about the fact that we are going to be moving forward this year back into a world of normality, that it's normalcy. It's settle it. Use either. That's what because I'm waiting for the people to hit him. And then they're like, oh, yeah, you could say that, too. We are. And that's where I want Biden to come out and say, look, here's the deal. If you don't want to get the vaccination, you don't have to get the vaccination. That's a you thing. People, they're going to go out and get the vaccination. That's their choice as well. Some of you, because of whatever reason, you don't want to get it, that's fine. But at some point, it's on. All, we're taking off. We're taking off. All the governor is coming off you. We're going to take the governor off and just let's see what this thing can do and get back out there and live our lives. And take the calculated risk that we always take, even before COVID. Even before COVID. So we'll see. Because we managed to turn everything into a fight. That's the beauty of who we are. Can we fight about this? Oh, you betcha. Yesterday, Tulsi Gabbard, who I would have voted for, was talking about Congress, right? Like she was on Joe Rogan, and she's starting her own podcast, and we'll get Tulsi on here in the very near future. I like Tulsi Gabbard. She was one of the first ones I think she was the only Democrat that wanted to do anything with Trump, right? And she seems like what we would consider a level-headed person, who, hey, you seem like you're capable, right? And you're level-headed. Like, I don't know all of the things about you, but you seem like you're pretty level-headed. And she talked about, hey, being in Congress.
This was my first impression getting elected. Got elected 2012, got there and sworn in January of 2013. And I remember calling home. I think I was talking to my family, my parents or somebody, and I was like, this place is like high school. Even on the House floor, that's the only time we're all together, usually for votes. When you've got everybody, all 435 members there, and you see the little cliques gathering in their designated corners, like the cafeteria tables, and one clique is kind of, giving the mean girls side eye to the other clique, and like, oh, if you're hanging out on that side of the room with those people, what's wrong with you?
Yeah, cliques. Of course it is. There are power brokers, that are cliques, there are people. Think about how many senators in Congress. So we have 533 of them. How many of them do you know? Very few. Very few. I would say 90% of them, if not more, if you're not actually keyed in to either your local politics as far as you understand who your congressperson is and your senator is for your state, you have no idea who they are. A very few are the cool kids, but it is like high school. It is. I talked to David Schweikert, who is a congressperson out here. He said it's just there are some people that they're power brokers, and you even though you're a congressperson, and in theory we're all congresspeople here. No, they're the cool kids. You're not, and they treat you as such.
How is this even possible? It's possible because so often people will vote for a candidate because like they have a really cool ad on TV, or like, yeah, that person, you know, is a good looking guy or a good looking girl, or they talk good, they talk nice, they sound smart. Yeah. All right. Check. Rather than like, all right, what are your capabilities? What are your qualifications? Like, what kind of judgment will you exercise?
Very true. Like, that's spot on. What kind of judgment do you have? Like, do you have good judgment? But it's hard, like, you know, and that's why debates and you know, that's why I like town halls better than debates, because the debates end up being no more than sound bites and flippant remarks towards one another. I want to have a conversation because it's about getting in deeper to understand a person as best that you possibly can. That's why the past, you know, is somewhat important, especially for people who've been in pressure situations, ran big things that you can look upon and say, okay, did you do this, this, and this? Well, you seem to check some of those boxes, but it's about the slickness of it. It is. When we come back, I want to talk about what she said about when she ran for president and everything that you need to know about the media that we've talked about and that we continue to talk about, because so many people think that it's you know, even with the YouTubers and people being canceled and all these kind of stuff on some of these things, understand that there's so much more to it than I don't like your speech. While other people may not like your speech, you got to think about a bigger picture for a lot of these companies than just whether or not that person's a meanie or this person's a meanie. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at us, text the program. ExpressVPN. It's a perfect example of something you can do. Save yourself a lot of hassle and your data. Big tech's always looking for you. Remember, when it comes to social media and a lot of these other things, you are not the end product. You are the product, and your data is, and it's worth a lot of money to them. So what do? You get ExpressVPN. VPN's great. Anonymizes much of your online presence, hides your IP address, therefore harder to trace, and then take that data that they trace and sell it to advertisers, and that's awesome. On top of that, ExpressVPN encrypts 100% of your data to protect you from eavesdroppers on your network. So the virtual private network is essentially giving you a dark area, invisible, so you can do your thing. And it's easy to use. One tap on the button of your phone or your computer, and you're protected. And I think it's like 16 cents a day for a year package, which is nothing. And they're going to give you 3 extra months. Go to expressvpn.com/Benson. Now, I use it. My uncle uses it. I have so many people that use it. We've been using it for a very long time. It's just smart way to protect yourself, especially in this day and age. expressvpn.com/Benson, EXPRESSVPN.com/Benson. 3 extra months for a 1-year package. It's like 16 cents a day. expressvpn.com/Benson. Protect your data today. Chad Benson Show.
You go, boy.
This isn't about right or left. This is just about right and wrong.
Right you are, Chad. The Chad Benson Show.
They believe Donald John Trump incited the election.
What? Wait. What?
Incited the election.
Well, so that's what made everybody charge the Capitol? Which way are we going, President? That way. Oh, goodness. That's the second time. Didn't he do that also in a tweet? He's fun. Chuck Schumer's fun. That's all we're trying to say, kids. He's fun. Back to Tulsi Gabbard. So we're talking about the media. You know, she talked about how Congress was awful. She's got a new podcast coming out, and she was on with Rogan yesterday. But there's a perfect example about what we've talked about over and over when it comes to the media. That, okay, who are the new villains? Who are going to be the new stars? They're going to praise Joe Biden because they're all on the left side of the aisle. The establishment media, the right side of the media is going to do the exact opposite. And they'll play off it because it's easier to attack than play defense. But at the end of the day, it's about conflict, and it's about salaciousness and stories that are easy for people to consume that will get their attention.
I announced my candidacy for president. so that we can talk about these very serious issues. And on day one, immediately, literally that very day, within minutes, mainstream media starts attacking. That's when the whole Russian asset thing began. These seeds were planted to say, oh, she's some kind of suspicious candidate. You better watch out. The smears started. The building of this caricature of me as something that has nothing to do with who I am, my experience, my background, my capabilities, what I'm advocating for. Nope, the media didn't want to talk about that. The other candidates didn't want to talk about it.
No, they didn't. Because it's easier to demonize. But it's also a ratings thing. Right now, people are saying, well, yeah, how can New York Times, Washington Post, two of their opinion, right? I think Max Boot and I forgot the other guy said, we need to get rid of Fox and OAN and Newsmax and for their disinformation. Well, you guys played this game up for 4 years, 3.5 years with Russia, and it turned out to be a bunch of crap, right? I never bought into any of it. I thought it was ridiculous. You downplayed certain things, upplayed others. Other FBI agents that weren't allowed to be a part of that were saying, hey, this thing needs to be vetted much better. This feels like a stupid dossier that was written like a poor spy novel and still everybody played it up as if. She got tied into it, part of the Russian asset world, because the media didn't like something. So you know what we'll do? We're going to define something in such a way. I used to know, and how many of you have had friends? It's a perfect example. How many of you have friends out there or people you've known in the past who, before you meet somebody that they know, they're going to try to define that person in such a way that you look at them differently when you meet them. And sometimes what other people say is true, but a lot of times it's not. Because it makes them look better. The media needs the ratings. They need villains. And she was a perfect foil.
Going on the debate stage. Okay, this is a national stage to be able to raise these very serious issues about the nuclear threat that our country faces, this new Cold War, and what we need to do to walk back away from the brink of nuclear catastrophe. Nobody wants to talk about it. They want to go towards the superficial attacks. They want to go towards the he said versus she said, and ultimately the things that will cause ratings to go up.
Yes. Because I tell you guys this, and I mean it. I've been in this business a long time. Let me tell you, revenue is what this business is all about, and you get revenue through more eyeballs, more clicks, more shares, because that's where the ratings are. And whatever sells, it used to be if it bleeds, it leads. Now, it's about sales. And if the bleeding is the leading, then we'll do that. And if it's something else, we'll do that. Chad Benson Show.
This is the Chad Benson Show. Independent thoughts, independent life. This is Chad Benson.
Make no mistake. There will be a trial, and when that trial ends, senators will have to decide if they believe Donald John Trump incited the election.
Excuse me? Wait, what?
Incited the election.
Wow, that's odd. Can you be impeached for that? His words, it just happened. He started yelling and getting excited. Next thing you know, whoop, there it was. Earlier today, Chuck Schumer worried. You, Chuck, need to worry about your own private life. Let other people live their life.
Incited the insurrection against the United States.
His face afterwards, like, oh, God, I did it again. Nancy Pelosi is going to be sending over the incitement of erection impeachment paperwork on Monday, apparently. So away we go. Now, when will it happen? I don't know. Republicans push it out a little bit. I think the Democrats want to get it going faster. At the end of the day, there's a lot of stuff that they need to, do that is more pressing. But, it's going to happen.
As former President Donald Trump starts to get his defense team in order, Republicans are pushing to delay the impeachment trial for at least 2 weeks, saying Trump needs more time to prepare. Republican leader Mitch McConnell sending this proposal to Democrats, insisting the Senate cannot short-circuit the due process for Trump.
And that's true. I mean, you got to give him time. He's got to get a legal team together because the person that was supposed to be heading up his legal team is going to be a witness and may also himself have some issues. So I think at this point in time, let's focus on doing the things that they need to do when it comes to vaccines, rolling out his massive, 100-day plan of 100 million shots.
Our plan starts with mounting an aggressive, safe, and effective vaccination campaign to meet our goal of administering 100 million shots in our first 100 days in office. This will be one of the greatest operational challenges our nation has ever undertaken, and I'm committed to getting it done. We'll move heaven and earth to get more people vaccinated for free and create more places for them to get vaccinated, to mobilize more medical teams to get shots in people's arms, and to increase vaccine supply and get it out the door as fast as possible.
Yep. And you do that because the thing that people are looking at now is, how am I going to survive? Not health-wise. I think a lot of people understand, even though this is novel, what the potential is, especially if you have comorbidities and you're over the age of 65, which, let's be real, of the majority of people that have died, elderly with more than a few underlying conditions. Yes, younger people have died. Younger people die every year from the flu. Somebody will probably die today from the flu. And nary a peep. So, does it happen? Of course. But we know what the issue is that we really need to protect. But we also have to start realizing there's another financial health side of this that needs to be focused on big time.
Today, the president will shift his focus to the economic fallout of this crisis, taking more executive actions intended to provide more aid to families who are really struggling to put food on the table. Also looking at ways to try and speed the delivery of those direct stimulus checks, and also taking steps to try and help workers who simply may not feel safe returning to the job. These are all actions intended to help Americans, but also to help stabilize the economy.
Yeah, and that's what we want. And we've got to be real about all of this. First and foremost, I think one thing that people need to understand, and I'm glad he said this, I'm going to disagree a lot with Biden. A lot of this crap that's in this $1.9 trillion and the focus on some of this stuff about, just things that don't need to be focused on at this moment in time. Let's get the ship righted. Let's plug the holes and then figure out how we can move forward and take care of the rest of stuff. There's some things that in politics, you know what, they always talk about, we need to learn how to walk and chew gum. The problem is you guys do walk, chew gum, try to juggle, and ride a unicycle, and do push-ups, and at the end of the day, more often than not, it all falls down. So it's one thing at a time, but he was honest here.
Despite the best intentions, we're going to face setbacks, which I will always explain to you. But I also know we can do this if we come together.
There will be setbacks. We've seen it. I'm not blaming. Like yesterday, there was the CNN. People hammered CNN. They said that there was no plan for vaccination. There wasn't a solid plan, right? Fauci came out and kind of contradicted those things. About whether or not there was a plan and whether or not they're just starting all over. I think there was first of all, the cupboard wasn't bare. He got the most important ingredient of all of this, which was the vaccine. That happened on Trump's watch, which was huge.
We certainly are not starting from scratch because there is activity going on in the distribution.
And there has been. But the distribution side of it and the plan after the first set went out to all the states, that has been abysmal. And because Trump spent a majority of his time trying to figure out how we go about staying president and all of this stuff. So that's not totally true, but it's not totally untrue. And that's exactly the frustration I think people have with media. At the end of the day, there's some good things and some bad things from the last administration. Now it's on Biden moving forward. The vaccine's there. Johnson & Johnson. And the reason I think Johnson & Johnson's going to be huge is it's one shot. That's been one of my other big worries about the shot, whether or not people like we're convenience kind of folk, right? Like, yeah, I'll get a shot if I have to. A second one? When? Maybe. I don't know. I could come by. It's possible. I might not. Well, it's kind of protecting me, and if everybody else gets it, we're kind of all protected. That's pretty good numbers. So the Johnson & Johnson one is a one shot, which will be much more convenient for people, and that's great. So we'll see what takes place in the future, but now it's up to the states and the feds to start working in such a way that we can get this thing rolling and make it simpler for the elderly to get their shots, for the essential workers to get their shots, and you do the elderly by fixing the systems at the state level, where in many states it's ridiculous for them to try to get through the computer a vaccination time that they can come get vaccinated. Like took grandma 3 years to figure out how to use the answering machine and her jitterbug phone. Now you want her to go through this entire process? Probably isn't going to work that way. So that's going to be tough. It is. We shall see, though. We shall see. Fauci was also, what he was very open about working with Trump. He was. And I think you didn't have to be a rocket scientist. Trump was one of those people where if you said something he didn't like, you were either going to be fired, you were going to disappear in a sense where you may still have your job, but you're never going to be next to him in any kind of picture or any of that stuff. And Fauci was open about what it was like.
But it was very clear that there were things that were said, be it regarding things like hydroxychloroquine and other things like that, that really was uncomfortable because they were not based on scientific fact.
Yeah. And, he's got the new opportunity to run with this. And we'll see. A lot of, the right blames Fauci for stuff. The left blames Trump. I mean, everybody's got a part to play in some of these things. And in politics, as you and I know, it's sometimes it's the pettiest things in the world. And there was that. I mean, Trump was as petty, if not pettier than 90% of them, that he says, these people are all this way and that way, and this is the swamp. And look at what he did with Pence. I mean, that was insane. You didn't talk to your vice president for how many days after all that stuff? You didn't even call to see if he was okay. So, I mean, this isn't about Trump, but I see where Fauci was going about that, and he's on to something new.
The idea that you can get up here and talk about what you know, what the evidence, what the science is, and know that's it. Let the science speak. It is somewhat of a liberating feeling.
But now there's nowhere for you to go either. So if this thing falls flat, this can be on you guys. Trump failed in almost all the boxes that needed to be checked when it came to this, from saying it'll be gone at this date or one day, poof, it'll be gone, and some of the stuff, and then just completely ignoring it, to Biden, you're going to be hyper-focused on it. Fauci's going to be hyper-focused on it. And the states, and you got to hold your leaders accountable across the board when it comes to how they handle this as well. because there's nowhere else to go. And I think they realize that. And hopefully we can get through this thing in a faster, more orderly way so we can get our lives back together. Chad, 99.6% of people survive. I get that. I've had it. But at the end of the day, remember, when it comes to the health side of things, ask constitutional lawyers. Really, you know what? When it comes to the health side of things, government has big leeway to do a lot of things. So at some point in time, we're going to have to get on with this. And here's the other thing about the way that this is going to go now. There's going to be liaisons between the states and the feds. That's fine. But you're also going to find out how your state really does in situations like this. Right now, I'm in Arizona. We're the worst in the country, period, across everything. We're no longer the worst in the world as far as positivity rate, but I think we're like 48th in the states and 49th. But we're actually 51st overall. We're the most dangerous state for the coronavirus. Through vaccinations, spread, all of these things. We're 51st. Puerto Rico's better. Out of all of the states in Puerto Rico, I don't know where Guam is on that. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show. Twitter, tweet at us, text the program. The best states, I believe, are Vermont, Colorado, I think Montana and Alaska. And outside of Denver, what do you have? Most areas are sparsely populated with a few big cities in, Colorado, but nothing outside of Denver that's really huge. And people naturally distance because of that. Home title lock. Get it. People can steal your home. People ask me this every day, Chad, you do that at home title lock. Is that real? I'm like, of course it's real. What are we making it up? Yeah. I mean, you hear how hackers will hack in a hospital and they'll take it over and then they'll demand money in Bitcoin. Well, hackers will go now, find out through public record your home address, who you are, and then they'll take control of your title, which means essentially they own your home and they can do whatever they want to it. And by the time you find out, it is too late. By the time you find out what's going on, it's too late because you're getting phone calls from creditors because people have borrowed against your house, or maybe they're even calling you saying, look, we own your title. We have everything right now, and we're either going to evict you and sell your house and take us to court, or you can pay us off. Bitcoin, stuff like that, so hard to trace. So protect your home with Home Title Lock. They'll alert you when any action's happening, and if should somebody get through and actually do something, you're going to get $250,000 to fight that in legal fees. Protect now. Go to HometitleLock.com. Register your address. See if you've already been a victim. Use code radio. 30 days free protection. Right there. That's HometitleLock.com. Code radio. HometitleLock.com. Use the code radio. Chad Benson Show.
Set Chad straight. Text the show, 323-538-2423. That's 323-538-CHAD. Someone has to do it. Might as well be you. The Chad Benson Show.
A black man is getting a standing ovation in the Deep South for breaking a record of an all-time baseball idol. And it is a great moment for all of us, and particularly for Henry Aaron, who was met at home plate not only by every member of the Braves, but by his father and mother. He threw his arms around his father, and as he left the home plate area, his mother came running across the grass, threw her arms around his neck, kissed him for all she was worth.
Vin Scully on what was an amazing call and day when Hank Aaron broke the record for most home runs.
Fastball is a high drive into deep left center field. Buckner goes back to the fence. It is gone.
Henry Aaron passed away today. Talk about a guy who went through so much. Played in the Negro Leagues. Born in 1934 in Mobile, Alabama. 25-time All-Star, World Series champion. And before he hit that home run, when they knew he was getting close to Babe Ruth records, the intensity of which the racism and threats ratcheted up. Because how dare a black man take this white guy's record? And he lived a model life as far as the way that he handled that kind of pressure. Was awarded the Presidential Medal of Freedom in 2002. And really was talk about perseverance and all the things that this guy went through. It is amazing. Passed away today, age 86. Final stats, 305, 3,771 hits, 755 home runs, 2,297 RBIs. A Hall of Famer for sure, in life as well. Chad Benson Show.
The Chad Benson Show.
Independent thoughts, independent life. This is Chad Benson.
If you could get one policy on the table right now and get it through that 50-50 Senate and have Kamala Harris hit that button and make it happen, what do you think would help the most?
Wealth tax. Wealth tax. A 2-cent tax on the top 1/10 of 1% in this country.
Did she say 2 cents? That's it? I think we can all pitch in for 2 cents, right? Like everybody? Let's help her out. She's aware that she doesn't keep the money. Of course, Chad, she's aware. God. Wealth tax. Because everywhere they've tried it, it's not worked, but we know that we can get this done the right way. Why do you protect the wealthy, Chad? You know what it is? It's not even about, I don't care. This is the way I've always looked at taxes. Should everybody pay their taxes? Yes. Are there loopholes, as they would call it? No, there are rules and regulations and laws that have been put into place that people who are smart take advantage of to their benefit. That happens. Everybody listening, myself included, we do all we can to pay as little as possible. I don't care if you make $35,000 a year or you make $35,000 a day. You're trying to do that. Right? You go there, the tax place. How many miles a day do you drive? 5? 50? Like that. Everybody's trying to do something. So let's not pretend. Do we need to figure the tax code out? If you really want to do that, then remember, as everybody's, wearing their eat the rich thing, know this. It's the rich who've put these things out there. It's the powerful that have put these things out there. These are the people that have designed these tax systems and put these things in place, these parameters, these laws in place. They need to fix them if you want to see a change in it. They do. But you'll find out that it's much easier to say, I'm fighting for the little person. I'm fighting for you guys out there. I'm fighting for the people that are working every single day. Some of you single mothers working 2 jobs. I'm fighting for you hardcore. And then when you're like, we're going to try something, you find out you're not getting anywhere. Because you're taking a lot of the same money that the other side's taken because you're a corporation, and it's the beauty of what it is. And you guys have a monopoly, right? Twix, left Twix. You guys both are Twix, and you have a monopoly. And because of that, you're soaking up all of that money and whether it comes directly to your campaigns and helps you or it goes in a different direction but still manages to get there, it's a helper. And so very little changes. And when something does change kind of big, everybody celebrates. Oh my God. But the wealth tax, it's because it's easy to say and it makes people feel good. Yeah, the wealthy, they're evil. It's easy to vilify somebody. Oh, wealthy, make money. Why should they be successful when everybody else is struggling? Oh, my goodness me. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at us and text the program. Mega Millions is close to being a mega billion. I said it right. Mega Millions, mega billion. So the other day we had a winner in the Powerball in Maryland. Of course, everybody wants to know what's going on. Like, who was this? Small town. I think it's Allegheny County or something, like some small little town. Who is this person? What do we know about this person? Because everybody's trying to find out, who is it? There's like 8 people that live there, right? There's only 8 of us, so we got it. We're probably all related. But that's a lot of money, right? So, but that's not the big one. The big one is tonight. The big one is tonight. But still, you kind of want to know, okay, who won this thing? Who won this? Like, what's going on? There's always that buzz.
The talk of the town is who's holding the winning ticket.
Everyone's trying to guess who it is. That's the big thing. And in a tiny town like this, you're probably related to them.
20% of residents here live in poverty. The coronavirus has only added to the economic devastation.
Yeah, small town right there. 20% of people live in poverty. And then, eat the rich. Settle down. You know what? If money was like so evil and bad, and remember, the person who has access and control of it is the person who decides, money can be used for good, can be used for bad, it can be used for whatever. And you know that. But it makes me laugh because why do people play the lottery? It's so they can stay poor? Why are you playing the lottery? And that's what ends up happening mostly. It's people who want hope, and this is another hope and an opportunity to have something. Somebody won the Powerball. They got themselves $546 million. Worked it out to be, 322-ish million after everything if they take the lump sum. People may or may not ever know who that person is. Tonight, though, a little different. Tonight's the Mega Millions. 1 in 302 million is your chance to win. Where does this place on the largest jackpots ever? It's 3. 970 million. Could close into $1 billion tonight. 1.54 billion was number 2. South Carolina, 1-ticket winner. October 23rd, 2018. January 13th, 2016. 3 people split. 1.59 billion, the largest ever. California, Florida, Tennessee. That's huge. That is huge. Well, I bet you they're not going to be happy. Actually, new study out about that today, and I hate to tell people this. It's going to make everybody upset. Apparently, money does buy you happiness. Aw, jeez. Are you serious? Yeah. It makes people happier. Some people are always miserable, and that may be their happy place. But they did a very large, Penn Wharton's University released a large study that was done in a very interesting way about data points throughout the day. And there was 2 million data points, over 33,000 people, providing moment-to-moment snapshots of their daily lives. And the study that came out a few years ago was about income levels. And what they're thinking now is after $75,000, where the income stops mattering, is what they're saying. But the happiness actually does go up, and it goes up exponentially. So, and they said they even showed that if you make $25,000 a year, your happiness is if you go up to 50, is much larger. And if you make 100,000 a year and then somebody makes 200,000, in between there, that scale grows much larger. In some of their happiness, it is. And I'm like, wow. So it's true. Of course. Of course it is. And the reason is simple. It takes away stress. And it gives you options. That's it. That's the big thing. The stress of, because everybody's got stress, right? Like, I don't care if you're making X amount of dollars, everybody has stress. Unless you're like Arthur from the movie Arthur. Remember Arthur? Like outside, but everybody's got their, and you may end up having stress, but you're going to have some stress. And here's the other thing. And this is crazy, guys. I'm going to show this to you. People who make higher salaries and are successful also work longer hours. Oh, they do. Yeah, they work more, longer hours. But at the end of the day, it gives you choices. It gives you freedom to make certain decisions and not have to worry about other things that people worry about day to day. That should have been a no-brainer. But a lot of, I think a lot of it is like, well, it doesn't buy you happiness. Remember, you've always heard that as a kid. Money doesn't buy you happiness. Even as a kid, I was like, that's the dumbest thing I've ever heard. And they're like, and there's always that, well, I know rich people who are very unhappy, and I know poor people that are very happy. And I'm like, as a kid, I'm like, who? We're poor. But what it does is because you got to think about it, too. Money's one of those things where people are afraid of money. A lot of people are terrified of money. They're terrified of success and they're terrified of money. And what money does, it gives you freedom from a lot of everyday worries, stress. And you're going to have other stuff because usually if you have money, contrary to everybody else's belief, you just didn't inherit it. You've worked for it. So you have other added stress that other people don't have. But it buys you that day-to-day stress of not knowing your next meal is going to come, having disposable income, not worrying about certain things. And it gives you that freedom and choice to do things that other people just can't do. Which, that going to make you happy. Taking your family on trips that other people can't go. We're going to go on safari. We're going to go here. It buys you those kind of things. And those are just the choices. But also money does something else. It's a great indicator of character. I've known people that have started from nothing and were the worst human beings, and they made a ton of money and they were awful. And people say, oh, it's because of their money. I said, I've known them my whole life. They were awful as then. And I've known people that have been amazing, good people. And guess what? The more money they had, the better they were. And it also changes people around you. Because I guarantee you win $550 million or $80 million or $1 million, people will look at you different. They're going to be like, oh, yeah, they will. Yeah, they will. They will totally look at you different. Because now you've got something they don't have, so there's jealousy. You've got something they want because you've got a great business idea, or you feel that, hey, I've helped you before, so maybe you can help me. And for a lot of people, when they start to see, that money side of things, they start to put you in a different box because maybe you don't want to give all your money to them, so now you're a jerk. It changes people around you a lot more than it changes you. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at us, text the program. Don't worry, people. Even when I win, I am not going to be leaving the show. I'll still be annoying you every day, and I'll be telling you how happy I am because of all the stuff. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at us. I couldn't even, money's paying off some bills and help my family out and a few friends. I'd probably give a ton of it away just because. And yeah, I would make the effort to get my Komodo dragon, set up a zoo, but that's maybe have a little par 3, 1 or 2 holes out back that I would clean up, but that's it. I'm just so nothing would change. I would even look at like, hey, you could buy a Bugatti. Yeah, I could, but I don't want to pay $30,000 to get an oil change. So I'll just stick with what I got. Oh, you will? Mm-hmm. 323-538-2423. At Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at us. Text the program. Chad Benson Show.
You stink like fear and white male privilege to me.
I do often out myself verbally as a gender. My pronouns are they, them, and I'm proud to be a gender.
Are you stupid?
What? Are you kidding me? Not a great way to use your white privilege.
Some people get it, some people don't.
You're listening to the Chad Benson Show.
22,000 fans will be allowed into Super Bowl 55 next month in Tampa. The NFL announced Friday that 7,500 of those fans will be healthcare workers given free tickets by the league. All of those healthcare workers will have received both doses of the COVID-19 vaccine, and everyone at the game that's set for February 7th will be required to wear a face mask. That's one part of the league's health and safety plan that it says was reviewed by the CDC, the Florida Department of Health, along with nearby hospitals and healthcare systems.
Yep. 4 teams remain. Super Bowl in sight. One of those teams, Tampa Bay, playing this weekend against Aaron Rodgers and the Green Bay Packers at the frozen tundra, Lambeau Field, will have a chance to host a Super Bowl and actually play in it. I think the close, I'm trying to think, has it been any team ever? I believe the closest it ever got is the Rams played against the Steelers. It was in L.A., but it wasn't their home stadium. So, big, huge weekend of football. So you got the first game, you got Green Bay, Tampa Bay. All right, let's see the weather in Green Bay this weekend because Aaron Rodgers wants it to be really cold. Sunday, right around kickoff, snow expected. High that day will be 30. The low will be 13. It's exactly what he wants. Aaron Rodgers going up against the GOAT in Tom Brady. It's going to be an interesting game. The one big thumping this year that Aaron Rodgers and Green Bay got was against Tampa Bay. So this will be very interesting to see. Totally different, though. It's not in Tampa. It's in 30-plus degree weather. Elements are going to be a problem for both teams. But that's the home of Aaron Rodgers. They play in it a lot more. I expect both teams to come out, rock and roll, but I think Green Bay gets by just because at this moment in time, I just think they're better balanced. The other game later on, Kansas City, Buffalo. Patrick Mahomes, he's practicing, but he's still in the protocol. He's taking snaps, but he's still in the protocol. The Chiefs are stacked everywhere. And their defense is pretty good. They lost, 2 games? The last game they lost was the last game of the season. Mahomes didn't play. In fact, most of the team that was starting really didn't get any reps. The other side of it, Josh Allen, who some people are saying is catching up and or caught Mahomes, and Diggs lead a balanced offense and an amazing defense in there. And I have a feeling, like you're saying, the eyeball test is nobody's going to beat Mahomes in them. But my gut says defense still wins championships, and I believe they have a better defense. Even before Mahomes went out, Cleveland played a hell of a game last week. So, could we see Green Bay and Buffalo? I think it's possible. But that's where I'm going this weekend. It's going to be a lot of fun. Tell you that. It is. Plus, you got Conor McGregor fighting tomorrow night. Woo! What a weekend. 323-538-2423. At Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at us, text the program. Good luck on your Mega Millions draw. Hope you guys win some of the prize that I will win. Have a blessed, wonderful weekend. Be kind to each other. We'll do it again on Monday. Night, night, Jack.
This is the Chad Benson Show.